Nerve cells, neurons, communicate with each other and communicate with muscle by electricity. But that electricity is generated by particular ions moving into and out of the neuron. And the rushing in of a particular ion, sodium, salt, is what allows nerve cells to fire. If you don't have enough salt in your system, your neurons and your brain and your nerve to muscle communication will be terrible. So you want to make sure that you have enough salt, potassium, and magnesium in your system if you want to perform well. I realize that salt isn't a very glamorous performance tool, but it is vital. It is absolutely vital. There are also tools that one can use to reduce inflammation at a kind of foundational level away from training. The kind of golden three, according to Andy Galpin, and the ones that he recommends are sufficient omega-3s, in general, getting above 1,000 milligrams of EPA per day to keep inflammation low or relatively low, vitamin D, and in some cases, magnesium malate. The omega-3 vitamin D and magnesium malate trio seem to be an effective way to reduce inflammation at kind of a systemic level. But remember, you want inflammation provided you're not damaging the muscle so much that you're injured during the training session, because that's the stimulus for change in those muscles. The other thing that's been shown over and over again in numerous well-controlled studies to improve muscle performance is creatine. Creatine is a fuel source for early in bouts of activity, for high intensity activity. It is also a fuel source for neurons in the brain, and it can have some cognitive enhancing effects. 18 studies supporting that muscle creatine content can be increased by ingesting creatine. How much creatine? For somebody who's about 180 pounds, 5 grams a day should be sufficient or so. Heavier than 180, so if you get if you're a 220 pound or 230 pound person, 10 to 15 grams of creatine. It was thought that you had to load it in higher dosages for a few days and then maintain it at lower dosages. So you take 20 or 30 grams a day, then back off to 5 or 10. It doesn't seem to be the case that you can get all the benefits from taking the dosages at the low level. There are 66 studies, showing that power output is greatly increased, anywhere from 12 to 20%. And this is sprinting and running and jumping as well as weightlifting by creatine. The ability to hydrate your body is improved by creatine because of the way that it brings more water into cells of various kinds. As an indirect effect, it can help increase lean mass because of the way that it brings more water into muscle, and probably also because of the way that if you get stronger, you can generate more force and generate more hypertrophy. Any discussion about muscle and muscle performance would not be adequate if we didn't mention something about nutrition. Ingesting 700 to 3,000 milligrams of the essential amino acid leucine with each meal is important. Now, that does not necessarily mean from supplements. In fact, most people recommend that you get your protein, you get your amino acids, including your essential amino acids and your leucine, from whole foods. High quality proteins are high density proteins. What do you mean by that? Well, it is true that a lot of sources of protein are found in things like beans and nuts and things like that, that all the essential amino acids can be found there. But per unit calorie, if it's in your practice, and it's in your ethics to ingest animal proteins, it's true that, for instance, 200 calories of steak or chicken or fish or eggs will have a higher density of essential amino acids than the equivalent amount of calories from nuts or plants. Eating 2 to 4 times a day, making sure you're getting sufficient amino acids in a way that's compatible with your ethics and with your nutritional regimen is going to support muscle repair, muscle growth, strength improvements,